Hey boys and girls, this book is called Buffaloes and it's part of the Giant Animals series and it's by Marianne Johnston. Buffaloes, Marianne Johnston. This is a table of contents. The table of contents is an important feature of a nonfiction text because it tells you the chapters in the book, what the titles of the chapters or the subjects of the chapters are, and what pages those chapters start on. So if I didn't want to read everything about buffaloes, but I wanted to learn about how does a buffalo eat, I would turn to page 15 and I can just read that section and I could learn about what buffaloes eat. So the table of contents is very important and very useful when you're reading a nonfiction text. The buffalo. The buffalo is one of the strongest and most powerful animals in North America. Buffaloes are also called bison. Millions of buffaloes once lived all over the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Now there are far fewer buffaloes. Today they live mostly in national parks and protected areas in Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Canada. These huge fur-covered animals can run as fast as 35 miles an hour. Buffaloes live mostly in the western part of the United States. Two kinds of buffaloes. There are two kinds of buffaloes in the European buffalo and the American buffalo. The European buffalo is a little bit smaller than the American buffalo. This kind of buffalo lives in the forests of Europe. The American buffalo lives in the United States and Canada. Most of the buffaloes in the United States live on open land called plains. Buffaloes in Canada live in forests. They live to be about 25 years old. This book will talk mostly about American buffaloes. The American buffalo lives on the plains and in the forests of North America. What do they look like? A buffalo is a very large animal that looks sort of like a bull. It has a large hump on its back that is close to its shoulder. The head of a buffalo is very large. On males, it looks even bigger than it really is because of a long beard that hangs from the face. A grown-up male buffalo can be 6 feet tall and 10 to 14 feet long. The biggest buffaloes weigh almost 3,000 pounds. A buffalo's horns can grow up to 6 feet long. Buffalo fur. A buffalo's fur is mostly dark brown with some patches of black. In the front of the buffalo's body, the fur can grow almost 2 feet long. The fur on the back end of the body is shorter. A buffalo's fur is also very thick and warm. Buffaloes need thick winter coats to keep them warm in places like Wyoming, where it can get as cold as 40 degrees below zero. But when the weather gets warm, the buffalo sheds a lot of its coat. The buffalo shed its thick winter coat in the spring. What does a buffalo eat? The buffalo is a grazer. This means it eats plants that grow on the ground. In the summer, it also eats herbs and grass. During the winter, piles of snow cover the grass on the ground. To get to its food, the buffalo swings its huge head back and forth to brush away the snow. Buffaloes usually eat in the morning or in the evening. The buffalo uses his large head and beard to uncover food hidden in the snow. How does a buffalo eat? When you eat something, you chew it in your mouth and then swallow it. After that, it goes down to your stomach. The buffalo eats this way too, but after the buffalo has swallowed its food, it comes back up from its stomach and into its mouth. The buffalo chews it again and then swallows it again. This is called chewing a cud. It's almost like eating twice. When the buffalo chews its cud, the food is easier to eat. Young buffaloes. Most baby buffaloes are born in May, when the weather is warm. When the baby is born, its eyes are open. A baby buffalo weighs between 30 and 70 pounds. People weigh only about 7 pounds when they are born. Baby buffaloes, called calves, can stand and drink milk from their mothers an hour after being born. A calf is usually a red or yellow color. Mothers are very protective of their calves. They keep them safe from other animals. Buffalo calves stay close to their mothers when they are young. The buffaloes and the Native Americans. Long ago, the buffaloes played an important part in the lives of the Plains Indians, one of the many groups of Native Americans in the West. Buffaloes were an important part of their religion, food, shelter, and clothing. Native American tribes such as the Sioux, Crow, Apache, and Cheyenne had great respect for buffaloes. Native Americans never killed a buffalo unless they needed to. They used every part of the animal. They ate its meat and made needle knives, arrowheads, and even dice from its bones. It took 15 buffalo hides to make a teepee or house. Native Americans used buffalo hides to make their houses. What happened to the buffaloes? In 1871, there were 60 million buffaloes. 20 years later, fewer than 1,000 were left. What happened to the buffaloes? American settlers killed millions of buffaloes. Some were killed to feed the workers who were building railroads in the West. Many were killed as a way of hurting the Native Americans who needed the buffalo to survive. These settlers almost caused the extinction of buffaloes. Long ago, American settlers almost destroyed all the buffaloes. The buffalo returns. People decided that it was time to help the buffaloes. Before the last few could be killed, the American government passed laws to protect the few that were left. In 1890, land in Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming was set aside just for buffaloes. 4 years later, hunting buffaloes in Yellowstone was against the law. In 1905, the American Bison Society was started to help protect the endangered buffalo. Today, about 140,000 buffalo live in the United States and Canada. And this is a glossary. It's a list of words that were mentioned in the book that are important, and it tells you what they mean. Bison, buffalo. Calf, a young buffalo. Cud, the food that is brought back up from the stomach to be chewed again. Endangered, when something has very few of its kind left. Extinction, bringing something to the point where there are none left. Government, the people who rule a state or country. Grazer, an animal that eats grass and plants from the ground. Hide, the skin of an animal. Plains, long flat areas of land. Protective, keeping something from harm. Respect, to admire something or to admire someone. Settler, a person who comes to live in a new area. And shed, to get rid of. This is the index. An index is a very important feature of a nonfiction text because it lists words that are mentioned in the book and tells you what pages they're on. So if I wanted to find out about buffalo mothers and I didn't see it mentioned in the table of contents, I can turn to the back of the book and find words and what pages they're mentioned on. And I see mothers is mentioned on page 16. So I could turn to page 16 and find information about mothers. So if you're just needing a little bit of information about a topic and you can't find it in the table of contents, then always know that you can turn to the back of the book if it's not listed here. Turn to the back and look for the word you're looking for and what page it's on in the index. This has been the book Buffaloes. I hope you liked it.